Oh, I can smell it. Hello Munchkins and viewers alike, it's me Munchie and welcome back to some rescue stories. Now, for those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Munchie and I run Munchie's Place for Homeless Pets where we take in hamsters, gerbils, and mice. It all started via fostering and it grew into something really big where I became kind of like the voice of small animals here on YouTube, joining a huge pet community here online. So I get to share with you intake stories and rescue stories. Now before we jump into this rescue, which, warning, it's going to be emotionally traumatizing to some, I'm sure, so I'm going to provide a neglect warning here now. Before we get into that, rescue and intakes. So when we get intake surrender, somebody is contacting our rescue looking to surrender their hamster, gerbil, or mouse. And usually it's a pleasant interaction because we are able to interact with them, engage in them, see why they're rehoming it, and they come to us, meaning they care. Now, rescues, maybe there's somebody out there that needs to rehome their animal. Maybe they don't realize that we're a rescue in the Pacific Northwest. Maybe they don't want to contact us. Maybe they just want money. It's a whatever situation. And sometimes there is actual neglect happening in Craigslist ads that you can clearly see that's just a big no-no and somebody done messed it up. So today's intake is not surrender intake, but a rescue where we had to go and physically take that hamster or hamsters because we knew this was wrong and we knew something terrible is going to happen if this animal is to be rehomed to somebody who doesn't know any better. First, let's check out the ad because I was gagging at the enclosure I had below to show you guys, but you are probably going to recognize it because it is one of the top hamster cages with very poor ventilation that you're probably going to recognize because it's got the stupidest shape of a habitat with stupid ventilation that is stupidly made. People think that this is okay. Of course, not you guys, the company who makes them that thinks that these are okay, and then of course if they say it's okay, unsuspecting people think it's okay. But this ad is really traumatizing, and this was actually spread around in some rehoming groups asking if people can go and rescue this hamster, even though it was a lot. People don't realize that there is a lot that goes into rescuing these guys. So, rehoming two hamsters comes with food supplies and cage. Rehoming two hamster, male and female, both raised from they are babies. Grammar. The female, brown one, comes from my BF's litter. They are used to being held, very tolerant to my toddler. He'd keep the white one in his hand the whole time during story time without the hamsters biting. Comes with the cage, just opened pack of food, and their nesting material. Rehoming fee, 100 OBO for all of them. So I've been really dying to make a video, and of course I completely forgot to calculate how much all of what I see is actually going to be around the same cost. It feels like this is excessively a lot, especially for two hamsters. And the ovo habitat, I forgot which one this is, if this is the attachment or if this is like the main one where you attach things to. But you can clearly see the water bottle on one side, which I do believe it comes with a cage, and then the wheel on the other, which I think this is a whole set. So not to spoil anything, but I wanted to let you guys know I calculated it and you can watch it at the very end of the video. First photo, Syrian hamster, brown. That's definitely a girl, you can tell by the butt. For guys, you tend to see a very elongated bottom. It looks like it's very close to the bottom, like they're dragging. Those would be testicles, aka balls for males. So this is indeed a female Syrian hamster. Looks young, just because you can see how smooth her coat is. And of course, with that hand, even though I don't know how big that hand is, fits in the palm of your hand, folded like that. She looks small. Next image, gonna break your heart. This is a winter white, also known as a Hungarian hamster. These two species would never have met in the wild. This is neglect. You're probably looking at that hamster going, ooh, the hamster's really small. It's either very young or there's something that may be going wrong with it, because if you look, winter whites are actually the fattest hamster out there, where they actually have a bunch of body fat and their necks are shorter, so their head's closer to the body to keep the warmth, because they are winter hamsters. Versus the Syrian hamster, which is not a winter hamster, and they have two different climates and two different needs. But this hamster is supposed to be a lot fatter than what you're seeing. You're seeing the face being very thin, and you're probably wondering, okay, that doesn't look too right. Maybe it's a baby. But you're thinking to yourself, wait, one cage, two different species hamsters. What the? and tired of people thinking that, hey, these are cute. I'm not gonna do a damn thing when it comes to research. I'm just gonna stick them together because guess what? It's from what the owner said, quote unquote. They are of the opposite sex. They are not the same species of hamster, so it's okay for them to be together because they won't have babies. Are you kidding me? Dramatization over. Okay, so it is very dangerous to be housing different species together. They are very territorial animals, and of course, if they can't really communicate because they're not the same species, they're not going to understand who the heck is in their space. And there is a tiny, tiny little hamster versus a big Syrian hamster. And guess which hamster most likely got picked on? You guessed it, winter white hamster, ladies and gentlemen, was absolutely in the worst shape possible. And these people apparently bred them, but from what I understand, it was accidental. It's just, and they knew too. They knew. So I have these notes here from the pickup. They said that they recently got the winter white hamster from PetSmart. The boyfriend's accidental litter is the Syrian hamster. I wonder if you go to PetSmart and see winter white, Roborowskis, Campbell's Russian dwarf, and Syrians all separate, and they have the little description on their card saying if they are solitary or not, which I believe in this case they did make Jungarians, if I remember, say solitary on their cards, which is very, like, I applaud you, PetSmart. But it clearly at PetSmart shows them separated, not interacting together because they're not meant to be together. But they thought it would be great to take the winter white from PetSmart, place it in with their already existing hamster, and think it's cute. Think it's fine. It's not. It's absolutely not. Oh my god, this is fair. Okay, anyways, continuing. You guys were probably wondering about the whole interaction and how it went, and I can tell you right away that they really were just so obnoxious. I cannot believe it. I really cannot believe how obnoxious these people were. And you know how the ad said that the winter white hamster would be completely fine in the child's hand and it would not nip or bite? That child beat the hamster, from our understanding, mishandling it. And guess how old the child was? The child was freaking 2! Here's my Aleve. This is how big the hamster is. It is tiny. A 2-year-old should not be holding a hamster and gripping it. People out there with children, you do not get small animals for 2-year-olds. Your 2-year-old is not going to understand how hard to squeeze or how softly to hold. You should not be letting them interact with them when they're 2 at story time. How long does story time take? How long does it take? Oh, Munchie, you just don't have kids, so you just don't understand. Are you kidding me? I've been around kids, and I have kids in my life right now. Not for me personally, but me with family, and me with friends, with kids, all right? You just don't let them interact like that. I was 10 years old when I got a hamster, and I can tell you there were times when I bet you I even mishandled the hamster. They're trying to get away, they're just trying to be hamsters, and we are trying to control their environment and control the hamster and try to make the hamster do what we want while we don't understand what their body language looks like. I kind of wish I knew what their body language was trying to tell me back when I was a kid. If I had the information like I do now, it probably would have been easier for my hamsters to feel relaxed and to feel calm and less stressed in their environment that I forced them in. Because yeah, I used career trails back then. It was awful. But you don't let a 2-year-old handle a hamster like that. And these hamsters came to me traumatized. Both of them! And of course the winter white is in such bad condition. Ripped ear that looks like the Syrian took a chunk out of it. And a horrible butt. Now you guys are probably thinking, oh my gosh, that butt looks so severe. Oh my gosh, that winter white has wet tail. Wrong. Before you start accusing that this hamster has wet tail, listen. Wet tail is mostly found in Syrian hamsters, especially young ones. They don't necessarily get wet tail as they get older. It is mainly a young Syrian hamster thing. And it is extremely less likely that a winter white can contract wet tail. So the first thing to notice is diarrhea. Diarrhea just spewing from the bottom, and you might be thinking that this hamster had wet tail because the bottom looks so filthy. This hamster was in filth, and this hamster could not bathe itself, and most likely it was excessively cleaning its bottom or urinating because there's this massive Syrian hamster it's living with coming up to it going, hey, Hey, this is my territory. Hey, how do you like that? How do you like that there, sir? I am going to terrify you so you urinate on yourself. They urinate to mark their territory and when they're scared, just like what dogs do. If you guys have ever seen a dog urinate in fear, that is what this hamster did. This is what this hamster did. And you might be thinking, you are being so loud, Munchie. Why? It's just trying to make a point here. I'm trying to get my frustrations out to you guys that this is absolutely not okay. This hamster went and suffered through stuff. It's like if you had a big brother, or your big brother's this big jerk and a bully, and he's constantly making you stress and making you fear for your life maybe, or threatening you in a way where you are very uncomfortable and it makes your existence miserable. This hamster has no voice. I am being that hamster's voice right now. The poops were solid on the winter whites. There was no diarrhea. Do not claim wet tail. Make sure if you do have wet tail, then most likely it's a Syrian hamster under the age of 4 months old and in a stressful environment, or came directly from the supply that hamsters are bred from. And if you just happen to get a very young hamster at the pet store, most likely they might already have the virus inside of them, and it takes maybe a week to actually show up, or maybe a couple days to actually show up. So just wanted to say that right there. Let's not be screaming wet tail, because I've been seeing in hamster groups lately, everybody is screaming, oh, your hamster has wet tail, when just the other day it was actually a female Syrian secreting her substance down below because she's horny and she's in heat. And everybody was screaming, oh, you need to take your hamster to the vets ASAP. That would have been, what a waste. Oh my gosh, please do not be promoting misinformation. If it's wet down there, it's not necessarily wet tail. Just want to say. I hope my point gets through to you guys. Right now, the winter white has recovered. The bottom doesn't look like crap anymore, which is great. But the environment it came in and just housing the hamsters together in this thing I'm about to show you is insane. And the Syrian, she worries me. She worries me a lot. She's very quiet and she's not acting right for a female hamster that is supposedly of the age to be in heat. She's acting as if she's gonna just contract wet, which I am very scared, and I am watching her for that. There's nothing that's going on right now, but because I used to work at a pet store and I had seen hamsters get wet tails, they start having a very weird demeanor. But then again, she also could have been terrified of having another animal in her space, and she could still be exhibiting timid-like behaviors. But I've never seen this before. Never. This is the first case when two opposite species are together in one small habitat. And at first, the winter white was completely timid and he was so scared of my presence. He would freeze and he would not want to move. And even if you touch him, he would play dead. Wow, it's horrible. But he has recovered and he is acting so curious now. He's out more so. He is able to be handled. He is, last night when I weighed him, 38 grams. I think we weighed him at 33 grams, so he is gaining weight. That is good because they should be anywhere from 40 grams to 60 grams, but they can go well into the 80 grams. Pretty intense when it gets up there. And yes, the winter white is very young. I want to suspect possibly 3 months old, but a little bit underweight. Female, I think the female was estimated to be 2 to 3 months, or they told us 2 to 3 months. So we're gonna look at the items first. So this is sunflower seeds here, and this sunflower seed has salt added to it. This is bad. You don't want to give too much sodium to hamsters. They shouldn't even be getting salt licks because salt licks are sodium. But they had these here that seem like maybe could have came from an Asian market. We have an open bag of tropical carnival gourmet food, hamster and gerbil. Now this one in particular is filled with artificial colors, and I don't like that. There's a new formula, I believe, that doesn't have the artificial colors. This isn't too bad when it comes to the crude analysis, but they definitely do need a lab block with it. And if you saw the ad, there was one hide, only one hide in that entire enclosure. And you might be wondering, well, maybe it's a medium hide, you know, because Katie has like a small, a medium, and a large, and the medium's usually the size of a Syrian hamster. No, it's the small version. This is for dwarfs or for mice. This is the smallest. And then we got nesting material, which is in squares here. This, if anybody's unaware, nesting material, whether it's bamboo, cotton, whatever, is not natural to them. And unfortunately, with their fine fibers, can get trapped when they go to pocket them to carry them with to their nest. It could get trapped inside their intestines and it could get coiled around, and they can literally choke from the inside on this material. It's like the same concept as if sea turtles kept eating a bunch of plastic that looks like jellyfish, and they get them inside and it gets clogged up, and then they can't, you know, they basically suffocate. Yeah, no, it's not good. Nesting material that pet stores keep selling, and this is from PetSmart, by the way. all living things is PetSmart's brand. Absolutely garbage. It is unneeded, unnecessary, yet they sell it anyways. Cool. All right, we have a little bit of their bedding left, which this looks like is the KT. This is the, I think it's called odor control, which it doesn't smell at all. It's supposed to be a lot better than their clean and cozy that they have. And yeah, that's what they have in here. So these pieces are not scented at all. It is just for odor control. And then we have this nice little basket, which actually looks like the basket I had growing up as a child for Easter, and a little mini wrench. Like I'm gonna work on this. Okay, here is the most disgusting thing. And I get to open this up and the water portion leaks all over the place. And I'm doing this on my nice clean bed. Ta-da! They were housed in this. Now the wheel portion was attached here, but because the Syrian did not want to get out of the wheel because she stayed at the wheel, and then the winter white was in the KT, which was in the center here, we just had to get her out. And so we had to take it off and try to coax her out or place it inside the enclosure and have her just come out naturally. But this thing housed 2 hamsters in it. But as you can see here, there's a bunch of punched holes. Remember guys, punched holes cause a lot of humidity buildup. And these are one of the worst, and even worser, even though that's not a word, worser than the tiny tails. I can tell you right now, because of these punched holes, the ventilation here really sucks and it can make your small animal very sick. So I hate the ovo. I absolutely do. And even though I really love Hammy Lux, she actually was promoting the ovo habitats because she grew up with them and they're actually crap because of the ventilation. Now, mind you, I did use punch holes when I was starting out, when I had to have a litter intake and I didn't know what to do and I had to go out and buy a bunch and then punch holes in them. A lot of freaking holes. Basically drilled a bunch of big holes so that they can breathe, but also had to take off the lids every now and again so that they'd be okay. Because I wasn't prepared for such a big litter intake, but I didn't want the poor Ginger's litter to suffer, or the 10 hamster litter that somebody surrendered to the pet store, okay? I just didn't want them to suffer it, but I didn't have the right tools back then. And then I finally got tools to make absolutely beautiful bin cages, and I'm so happy because with my other tool, I kept breaking the lid. And so that's why I didn't. But punch holes, awful, terrible, don't, please don't. I had a YouTube tutorial about how to make bin cages that are super simple and easy, but let's just open this up. God damn it. I didn't clean it because I wanted to share with you guys what this was. Okay, here's the wheel. Oh, god damn it. Oh, my eyes. Okay. Okay, no. No. Okay. Okay, this is the wheel. This is how it was attached. That is the wheel. This is the wheel. The Syrian was in this wheel. Okay, we're gonna take this off now. Oh, no, there's mold. Oh, so this is the water bottle where there's a tiny little nozzle. Pretend I'm the hamster if I can reach. And I tap it like this. Here's the mold. Oh, God. Remember Pappy, everyone? That had the mold, and it was one of the most severely neglected cases we've done. I want to say this is probably worse than Pappy's, even though Pappy was attacked. Ugh. Oh, I don't want to touch it. This right here is rice, chia, there we go. Sesame seed. No, this might be sesame seed. God, I don't remember what it's called, but this is not, no, this is, okay, I'm gonna touch it. Please focus on that. Yeah, look at that. That's rice. That's rice there with a bunch of other ingredients added. If you guys know what this is, please comment down below. This is the bedding that they had that looks like it has not been cleaned out for at least a month. I mean, this bedding is so thin, it's like an inch. It's an inch of bedding for 2 hamsters. The ammonia is extremely high in here. Oh, God. You can see the pee right here in the back. Take that in. Take that all in. This is so bad. Okay, place over in the other portion. Clean my hands, clean my hands. Oh my gosh. So if you guys want a companion animal, you want to make sure that their quality of life is exactly like how you would want your quality of life to be. You want to provide food, shelter, and all of the things that they absolutely need, including, not to mention, chew toys for hamsters, because that is one of the biggest needs that they have because their incisors keep growing in their mouths. I have seen that to be as one of the biggest problems when it comes to rescues and surrender intakes. Nobody has chew toys for them because they don't know the importance of it, even though it is in crappy care guides at Petco and PetSmart, and possibly the care guides at your local pet store like Pets at Home and all those other ones that are clearly nowhere around me. Yeah, I got clean hands. I feel really great. I don't feel great for them. So their names are Phoenix, the Syrian hamster, and Dobby. Little Dobby. You're welcome, guys. Little Dobby, because the situation is that like that of a house elf. Neglected. Very severely neglected, and he's small. And you can say, oh, look at the cute little Dobby, because he's adorable, and I'm glad he is recovering. But the Syrian hamster worries me a lot. She definitely does worry me. But this is where I'm gonna end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is in the past now. This is not their future. Their future is bright. This is why we do it at the rescue, is because we take in these guys. We will pay the price if it needs to happen. Although there's people out there that really want the money. And during this pan, you know what? Not gonna say in this video, but the pan. The pan candles. Remember, I talked about the candles and I did code words. The Backstreet Boys tour. Yay, Backstreet Boys tour. Anyways, during this Backstreet Boys tour, people are desperate for money at this time, and it's just been really bad place on Craigslist. People at the beginning of this pandemic bought pets impulsively because they wanted companionship, and now they're rehoming them several months later to even more impulsive people that are looking at getting them, and that's not okay. That is really not okay, especially since the increase from March to now is insane. And the hamsters are getting picked up like that. I keep being sent a bunch of, can you please help this animal ad? And every time we inquire, oh, somebody just got it, somebody just got it, somebody just got it. That's because some pet stores around here, like Petco in my area, specific pet stores, are not selling animals. They are not, because they're not doing returns at this time, so they're not going to be taking in any animals. And they also are against people impulsively buying them. Versus PetSmart around my area, who's like, oh, yeah, here, have a hamster. We'll give it to you in a reptile little container with a bunch of punch holes until you get home, because we ran out of boxes. Yeah, because this shows quality at PetSmart. Thanks, PetSmart. Guess where this hamster came from? PetSmart. Guess where some of this supplies came from? PetSmart. Hey, PetSmart doesn't really care about your animal because it wants the sales. Oh, give it sales. PetSmart's only there for investment and getting your money because it doesn't care. I am sick and tired of it. You have some really nice stuff, but then you're like, oh, we love pets. Here's all of our pet selection. Guess what? We have really big hides for hamsters, gerbils, and mice. And look at our cages that we're providing you. You can't really stick them in there. Yet we're just, selling these cages because, we're trying to copy KT because they're doing such a good job with their sales and stuff. And guess what we have to make now to get people to actually buy stuff? Yeah, even though they keep saying they want bigger and they don't want it to look so ridiculous. Yeah, here's what we're gonna do. Let's just make a big freaking dinosaur cage. I'm gonna be reviewing this in the future, but this is the future of hamsters. Apparently toys. That's all they care about. Hamsters are for companionship. If you want a hamster, you want companionship, you want understanding, even though this pet is not gonna live that long, that doesn't make an excuse of why you don't want to take care of it. There's great guides out there, there's great YouTubers out there. I highly recommend checking out the hamster communities online, on forums, on Facebook groups. Only a few, by the way. Some hamster groups I'm just getting really mixed feelings about. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked today's video, hit like to show support for me spreading awareness and me sharing their stories, not because of the neglect, because that's not how this video gets help. If you like the video and you want people to be more aware, you'll like it. You just don't dislike it like Facebook saying, man, I just don't like this. That breaks my heart. And if you would like to leave a comment, feel free to leave it down below. And if you really think that the hamster owners were just uneducated and stuff like that, I can tell you they really didn't care. The whole interaction was just, this hamster is an item and we just want to make money off of it. And if you're new here and would like to become a part of the Munchkin family, please do, and see more videos like this in the future and more reviews in the future of appropriate cages and not so appropriate cages and why not, and information, and hopefully my channel has helped you guys out when it comes to understanding about your small companion. Thank you guys so much. Yes, there was a lot of yelling in this video, but again, like I said, it needs to be shared. It really does, and it's infuriating. And this is how I express myself. And I love you guys. And I'll see you around. And thank you so much for watching. And goodbye now. But wait, there's more. I have calculated all of the items of which they gave me, and for an asking price of $100, I can tell you right now that that's a load of crap First, let's talk about the ovo. The ovo on Amazon is $21.98, which I actually thought was quite cheap for that enclosure. Despite it being constructed very well, it is a nightmare. The hamster food in question was Brown's Tropical, that's $8.99, which is on the higher end. But we can assume they bought 2 of these because they previously mentioned the bag was new upon opening. The small KT hide is only $10.91 on Amazon. Depending on which size bedding, she could have spent $14.99 or $21.99 on the bedding. But this is a sale price, so it could have been at full price. And lastly, the hamster that came from PetSmart. PetSmart sells them for $15.99. How do I know? I was recently at PetSmart and took a picture of this. However, maybe they were calculating in their own Syrian cost, but the Syrian was from an accidental litter not associated with this whole Craigslist ad, but maybe they did anyways, so we'll throw in the $14.99 of a short-haired Syrian hamster. So after calculating all of that, the lowest cost after tax would be $111, and the highest is $114. However, I don't want to count the bedding because we got used bedding, and the bedding that was in the bag was pitiful. So it honestly was not usable, so we don't count that. And I don't want to count the second food bag because it was not with the ad, and this is something that they purchased beforehand to go into their care, so we should not have to deal with the cost of having a second bag of food that we cannot use because they've already used it. And I don't want to count now the hamster that is involved, which is the Syrian hamster, because it was from an accidental litter and it was not purchased at a pet store. So now with the new calculated price, it is roughly around $63 after tax, and that is well under what they were asking for a rehoming fee. They wanted money, and this is definitely not something that I wanted to do, but in this type of situation, I knew I had to do it. We did not pay $100, but I won't disclose how much we paid. It's just ridiculous because I knew in my heart that these people, especially with the interaction, that they really did not care and they were there to make money. I have actually gone and tried rescuing hamsters, which people have rehomed them for horrendous prices, wanting more and not understanding that a rehoming fee is kind of like half of what you paid for and half of the cost of the care that you put into the pet. It's not the full cost of the care all the way up until this point, like a lot of people see. And sometimes people try to swindle you for money because they are crap people. So in this situation, I am welcome to say this person was crap. Absolutely crap. I don't care if they had a child or not. Some people are just crap, okay? So thank you guys so much for sticking around to the very end. It's just, let's get these guys into a better environment and a good home. Oh, and I kind of forgot about something, but it's okay because it's only a $3 to $6 item, but it is the KT feeder, and this thing really, you don't need to really calculate into the price because it's just a load of why is it there? There was another bowl in there that they clearly had food inside of, so why add that? I don't know why we got it, but just wanted to say that.